tonight you're going to hear a speech from a dynamic leader. And just like we heard speeches from the other gubernatorial candidates, we're not going to have a question and answer period. You're going to get to hear what they have to say and make decisions for yourself. Caitlyn Jenner is a businesswoman, television star, Olympic gold medalist. Caitlyn first came to California to train for the Olympic Games and has called California home for almost 50 years. In 1976, Caitlyn defeated the Soviet sports machine and brought the gold medal home in the decathlon for the United States at the Olympic Games in Montreal. Caitlyn is running for governor to put our state and its massive government on a much different path. Caitlyn believes our state needs a disruptor of its massive failed government. Caitlyn wants to be a thoughtful disruptor with the right ideas and God-given skills to save California from Newsom's economic destruction, stand up to special interests that have funded Gavin Newsom's political ambitions. How about that $3 million from Netflix to the governor, right? Who do you think profited from the shutdown? Netflix. Everybody was having to stream. Of course they're going to give them $3 million. Caitlyn wants to return California to Californians. Caitlyn wants to be a leader that will bring the best and brightest together so we can safely and quickly open California that's been shut for 18 months, allow businesses to rebuild, eliminate unnecessary regulations, lower our taxes, tackle homelessness, and finally get all of our children back into their public schools. And I don't know if I don't know if you've heard her on Hannity or CNN, but she can communicate. And California and our GOP has had a long history of electing entertainers who have the ability to communicate, whether it goes back to George Murphy in the 1960s as a US Senator, to Ronald Reagan as governor and president, to Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think that often in California, it takes somebody who can communicate through the media to be able to communicate to the voters. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you candidate for governor, Caitlyn Jenner.
But 2 months ago, I bet you didn't see this one coming, did you? Isn't that wonderful? Full of surprises. It's great to be down here. Orange County is such a great area for Republicans. Actually, this is my third trip down here. And it's really been a great opportunity to meet everybody. But everybody asks kind of the same question. Caitlyn, you got this nice little cushy life, living up in Malibu. Why are you doing this? I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. Number one, I love this state. I love this country. I'm a patriot. 1973. I graduated from college in a small town in Lamoni, Iowa. I got off the stage, got my diploma, walked out to my 1963 VW Bug, everything I owned in the back seat of the Bug, took my cap and gown and my diploma, threw it in the back seat and started driving for California. Why? Because I wanted to go to the Golden State and train. I can remember the little VW Bug coming up, and there was the sign. Never been to California before. There was the sign, "Welcome to California." I'm thinking, I have made it. I am in the Golden State. This is where dreams come true. I went to San Jose, California, where some of the greatest athletes in the world were living there, trained with them. 3.5 years later, wound up going out, winning the game, setting the world record that day, but that's okay. Enough of that. And I was so proud. I was the first American to put the flag up at the finish line. Why? Because I'm a patriot and I love this country. So proud to bring the gold medal back to the Golden State in San Jose. And over the last 48 years, I've watched this state decline. 1973, fuel for my little 63 VW Bug, 39 cents a gallon. Today, taxes are over 50 cents a gallon. I've watched the state go downhill, downhill, downhill because of bad politics, bad policies. And I've always been a fighter. I come from a long line of fighters. My grandfather fought in World War I, actually was in the dead pile in World War I. And some guy goes walking by and he hears a moan and he goes, wait a second, there's one alive in there. And goes through the pile, finds him, pulls him out, and he went on to live a good life. My father, when he was 19 years old, World War II was breaking out. He wanted to fight. Joined the 5th Ranger Battalion. They were the first boats on Omaha Beach. Somehow he survived World War II. 364 guys in his division, 60 came back alive to fight for our freedom, to fight for our country, to fight for our liberty. He's buried at Arlington with all his war buddies. And if my father could see what's happening to this country right now, he would be devastated. So I thought, you know what? Maybe it's time for me to serve. I'm not storming the beaches of Normandy, not on Omaha Beach, kind of storming the beaches of California, pretty nice beach. And the weather's good. Why? Because the Democrats can't change that. People are not leaving because of Yosemite. They're leaving for one reason and one reason and only, and that is overbearing, overregulated, overtaxed government. I have so many of my friends that have left. 18,000 companies have left the state of California. They continue to go. That shouldn't be. I don't want to leave. Over the last year and a half now, we've gone through the biggest decline ever in our state, obviously because of COVID. I don't blame, at the beginning, shutting everything down. You know, we didn't know what this disease was. We didn't know what the effects are. We knew where it came from, and that's not a good thing. And we shut it down. But I don't think anybody had any idea how difficult it would be to open this state back up again, or open any state up. But different governors have different ways. And I really feel today the number one reason why Gavin Newsome's getting recalled is because of his response to COVID, not just everything else he's done. And he is a political insider, but his terrible response to COVID. Different governors did it different ways. A good example, Disney World opened up last July, almost a year ago. With all the hotels working, Disney World opening up, Anaheim, what was it, a month and a half ago? Yep. And only California residents? All those hotel workers gone. We've lost 33% of all restaurants in the state of California are gone, never to come back. And you know what? It didn't have to be that way. No. Another good example, in Florida, the infection rate was 10.93% of the population. California, and they stayed open for the last year. California, which has been shut down, 10.97. So the infection rates are about the same. It's just that we have no economy anymore. We have children that have spent a year out of school. Children running around with masks on. Oh, drives me crazy. But that's why we are in this recall, and for many other reasons. His response to COVID has been absolutely horrible, and honestly, he doesn't deserve to stay in office just because of that one reason. But the decline of California has only accelerated under Gavin Newsome's rule. Actually, I came up with a new name for Gavin Newsome the other day. Yeah, Bernie Newsome. Bernie Sanders' policies, Bernie Madoff's ethics. The reason all these companies have left, and the reason probably a lot of people in this room have thought about leaving, is because of what's happening to the economy in this state. It has been absolutely horrible. We are the most taxed state in the nation. 13.33% taxes, income tax, 7.25% sales tax, gas tax over 50%. We're taxed everywhere we go, okay? And that's just has to stop. When it comes to taxing, as governor, I do not have the authority to lower taxes, but you know what I do have the authority to do? And that is freeze everything. I don't want one thing coming across my desk that's going to raise taxes. We constantly hear up in Sacramento, oh, they're going to put an exit tax or a bigger death tax, or they're going to tax you even more. No, that will not happen under my reign. We have to stop that. The other thing we have, which is such a problem in this state, is regulations. We have 22.1 million words of regulations on you in this state. If you read 300 words a minute, you work a 40-hour work week, it'll take you almost 3 years to read all the regulations. And it's amazing how it's accelerated. I had a friend over the other day, we were talking about some issues with the state, and he brought out the labor law book. He brought off a book that was 1957, Labor Laws of California. The book was 47 pages long. And then he brought out 2021, it was that big in 3,000 pages with just little print. I'm looking at the pages and they're so small. We have regulated ourselves to death here in this state. CIGA, which is actually started back the California Environmental Quality Act, which was a good thing. Actually, Ronald Reagan started it back in 1970. And it was to talk about the environment. And I am all for the environment. I want clean air, I want clean water, I want all that sort of stuff, but not at the expense of business. And we have to continue to do business. We can work that together. And you know what? For you that have lived here in the city for a long time, you remember back when I first came here in the 70s, if you're driving down, like you're coming from Malibu and you're coming into the city on the 10, you couldn't even see the hills in Pasadena. It was just black back there. Every day there was a smog alert, what's the smog stuff? This is back in the 70s and 80s. We've done a good job in cleaning these things up. We are better. I can drive now and I can see the mountains, okay? Clear as a bell. So we are doing a better job and we need to continue to do a better job. But what CEQA did is it just opened up the opportunity for the environmentalists to just destroy the state. That opened the door, and there's been more legislation on top today, especially when it comes to building. And we all know in this state how difficult it is to build and get all the permits. That there's, honestly, it's one of the reasons for our very high prices. We're down about a little over 3 million homes in the state, living areas. And because why? Because we can't build. That's one of the problems for homeless. We can't do affordable housing. Just last week, I was down at the Salvation Army. Wonderful, wonderful organization downtown LA. They do a wonderful job with the homeless. But you know what? There's a big building right next door. And they can't refurbish it. Why? Because of regulations. We can't do that. I want to be able to work with private companies when it comes to building, but we have to streamline the regulations. I want to work with charitable organizations. I want to work with private industry. I want to work with all of these people because we got to make a difference here. I would also, as governor, do a ballot measure that would make all legislators part-time. And cut their six-figure salaries in half, okay? You know, they only work technically 30 weeks a year. Wouldn't you like that schedule? And they make 3 times what the average Californian makes. I'm a common sense person, okay? I have common sense. Every time I see politicians, it seems like their one mission is to go to Sacramento, go to Washington, D.C., what? To make new laws. Okay, that's what they think their job is, to go there and make new regulations, make new laws, got to make the state better. It doesn't work. That's why we're overregulated, overtaxes. Okay? I don't want any more regulations. As far as regulations, I would put an immediate freeze on all regulations. I would put a sunset clause in there that after every 10 years, they would have to be reviewed, they're gone. Because we have regulations on the books that were there 10 years before the fax machine was invented. It's a different world today. And any new regulation that you want to put on, 3 regulations have to go. We've got to get it under control. We don't need more regulations. Okay, what we need is legislators spending less time in Sacramento. That's exactly what we need. Here's an interesting one I've been studying up on lately. Who in the audience, with a raise of hands, has had any PAGA litigation in the past or currently with PAGA? There we go, one right there, one right there. How many people know about PAGA? A few more hands, few more hands. The Private Attorneys General's Act, okay? It is one of the biggest and worst pieces of legislation that's on the books today. It is a job and business killer. Now, it started in 2004 when the last recalled governor, Gray Davis, 2 days before he was leaving, he signed PAGA into law. Since then, it has become the dream of every slip and fall lawyer. It was made to protect the worker. Let me give you just one example of PAGA legislation and how it turns out. Uber, about 4 years ago, got a PAGA litigation up against them about workers' rights. So they went into litigation and eventually they settled. They settled for $7.5 million they had to pay to PAGA. Now, remember, PAGA is for the workers. The state of California, out of that 7.5, got 3.6 million. The litigation lawyers got 2.6 million. The people who write the checks that are going to go out to all Uber personnel got paid, just to write the checks, $750,000. So what was left had to be distributed through all Uber employees. All Uber employees got $1.08. True story. That's like a quarter of a latte at Starbucks, okay? You couldn't even get the tall one, you know? I mean, it was half a tall. It's legislation that has to go. For me, PAGA's got to go. I mean, I would do everything to make sure that it is gone. And that's just one of many. Immigration. Obviously, here we are in Southern California. Immigration is a big issue. I, as governor, use state funds on state land to finish the wall. And do everything to what I call protect our eastern front, out that way, for people coming in through Arizona and out. But we need to get our immigration in order. Actually, you just noticed a couple of weeks ago, the Supreme Court just came up with a decision on the TAPS program, the temporary protected status. And they said that if you enter this country illegally or here on the TAPS program, that you cannot get citizenship in this country. That is a good decision. And the decision was 9-0. When was the last time you saw the Supreme Court do a 9-0 decision? And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You would have to leave the country, come back, and do it legally. But as far as immigration goes, if you are arrested in this state and you're an illegal alien, you're gone. Sorry, you're out of here. But we also have a lot of good people that are here. I mean, I am good friends with a lot of them that maybe 20 years ago, sometimes 30 years ago, they came to this country. Maybe they didn't do it right, but they've been here for years. They're good citizens. They're a vibrant part of our economy. And I believe they should stay. They should be able to seek legal status and be able to stay and be part of our heritage, of who we are, of our economy, of what we do. But it has to be controlled. We have to control our border first. Most important thing. You know, running for governor has been quite an education over the last few weeks. Boy, I've always been kind of on the outside of politics, lobbying on different things, going back to Washington, D.C., doing things, but doing it from the inside. It has been an interesting ride, I have to admit. The most fun, because actually one of the first person I called when I was thinking about this and putting this group together was my good friend Arnold Schwarzenegger, who I've known since 1975. I met him in the gym in 1975, and I said, Arnold, what do you think? I'm thinking about this. And he says, you know what? He was very positive. He said it was a good idea. And he said, but the best part was campaigning and going out and meeting the people. And I just have to agree with him tremendously. Once you get there, it's tough. You have different people, different ideas. Because in the old days, I went to San Jose to train with the greatest athletes in the world. Now I want to go back to Sacramento. I want to find the greatest minds out there. I'm not in a race anymore to win gold medals. I'm in a race for solutions. There are solutions. We can fix our state. We cannot have a healthy America with a sick California. And you know what? California is worth saving. But we cannot do it alone. Little old Caitlyn Jenner going up there doing it all by her little lonesome's not going to make it. It's not going to cut the ice. Sorry. I need a lot of people. This needs to be a grassroots effort by the people of California who want to take it back, like the people in this room right now. We see what's going on. We certainly see what's going on federally. But everybody talks about 2022 and taking back the House and taking back the Senate. You know what? The race for this country starts in the next couple of months right here. If we can take the bluest of blue states and work with the people, raise the money, do what we have to do, get out there, because it's not going to be easy. As you all know about a recall election, there's 2 questions on the ballot. First question, do you want to recall Gavin Newsome? We got to keep him below 50%. It's not going to be easy. And then when you go to the second one, the second question, there will be a long list of people, and we can win that one. But we need to get him out of there first, because for the next couple of months, as you've seen already on TV, it cracks me up every time I see it. I see Gavin on TV going, like he is the greatest governor we've ever had in life. But you know what? We're not going to forget what's happened and the demise of this state over his reign. We're not going to forget that our schools were closed down and our kids lost an entire year of education. We're not going to forget that our businesses have been closed, restaurants closed. We're not going to forget wearing masks for an entire year. And we got to get rid of Gavin Newsome. That's the bottom line. We cannot forget. So I really ask you for your support. CaitlynJenner.com. Go on there, read all about what we're doing, donate. This is a grassroots effort by the people, okay? And we all need to get together and do this together. So I want to thank you. You're a great audience. I've had so much fun. Arnold was right. The campaigning was the fun part of meeting all the people. But anyway, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come up here. And let's go, California! Yay!